Okay, this is now tarot lesson number 14. We're going to look at temperance in a few minutes. First, though, I think it's important that we remember that we're living on earth. We're on the earth. And the earth was here before us. We're here for a while. The earth was here before us, and it's going to be here long after we're gone. And the earth is bigger than we are. And the earth spins in its axis, and we have night and day. And this, so we have to sleep, and sometimes we're awake, but we can't just stay awake. So in the same way that, or in a similar kind of way that the earth spins and goes from light to dark, we also go from light to dark when we fall asleep. That's part of it. The other thing is that the earth is, there are volcanoes and hurricanes and all sorts of things happen like that. And we in our own lives can have hurricanes or volcanoes or volcanic eruptions. So if you look on YouTube, you'll find sometimes videos of a forest sliding down a mountainside. And so, because there are natural disasters like that. The thing is, after a natural disaster, the trees are all damaged and broken, and the plants are trees just get on with it. They start growing again. They don't complain. They just grow. And plants begin to reseed themselves and grow. And give it a little bit of time, and suddenly it's as if the forest never fell in the first place. Whereas people, what do? I'm not saying you personally, but people, when things go wrong, our first reaction can be to blame other people, or to blame life, or to blame God, or to blame somebody else or something else for doing this thing to us. But maybe we should be like trees. So when things go wrong, we just get on with it and regroup or reseed, or instead of focusing on what went wrong, begin again. So, the 14th, this is lesson number 14, and the 14th major trump is the Temperance card. So temperance, there are all sorts of meanings for temperance. Part of it can be, if you temper metal, right? You've got a sword, let's say, and it's in a furnace, and you heat it up and then you hammer it to make, and what you're doing is you're cleaning off or making it stronger by removing impurities. So you heat it up, hammer, heat it up again, hammer a bit more. So the process of becoming stronger for a piece of metal is really quite harsh and demanding. So it's not like you lie in bed and eat chocolates all day and that makes you stronger. Temperance seems to indicate, or in this case would indicate, heat and strength and demanding circumstances and demanding conditions. And this can be what you get with the Temperance card. It's not going to be plain sailing and easy. It's going to require effort on your part, let's say, or the part of the questioner. So temperance, I'm thinking, it's partly about how you become strong. So I have to take you, after I did number 13, the Death card, or 13th tarot lesson, I was talking to somebody that evening, and she mentioned about how she has bad neuropathy in her feet and ankles, and so some days are worse than others. And I said to her, in all seriousness, why don't you get your angels to fix you, or to heal you, or to fix the problem? This is because I personally don't see angels, but I think some people do, and this woman does, assuming it's not just her imagination. And even if it is, it doesn't matter. She sees angels periodically. So I said, why don't you get your angels to fix you, or to heal you? And then she said, okay, but didn't really mean it. Anyway, a couple of minutes later, the conversation turned to poetry. And so she used to be a tourist guide in Toronto. And when she was a student at university in 1972 or something like that. And one day a tourist said to her, what are you studying? And she said, English literature. And he said, I'll give you $100 if you can recite a poem right now. So she recited a poem by William Blake. And I've got it here, and I'll put it round, but I need to read it. He who binds to himself a joy does the winged life destroy. He who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. So that's what Blake said. So if you try to bind it, so let's say things are going well, what do we tend to do? We tend to hold on to it and bind the joy rather than trust that it's going to keep going, going to get better. We want security, we want stability, we want to stop change. Because remember, we're on Earth, and the Earth is spinning, and so are we in our own way. Things are always changing for us. So if things are going well, you tend to want to bind the joy. And what does that mean? You destroy the winged life. And this, look at the Temperance card. You've got 2 cups and you've got some kind of fluid or something, some motion between the 2 cups. Is this the winged life? Because winged suggests birds that fly and they're free. And in some way, life really ought to be free as well. Because talking about the binding the joy can be like keeping a bird in a cage. So yes, it can still kind of fly around, but not really. Whereas if we kiss the joy, what do? We live in eternity's sunrise. Sunrise, the beginning of a new day, in energy, enthusiasm, good things about to happen. And that's where we live if we kiss the joy. So this was the poem that the person recited to the tourist. And she told me the poem, and I thought, maybe that, okay, so I had said a couple of minutes before that, get your angel to heal you. And so I said, you've been carrying around healing for 50 years and you didn't know it, or you weren't applying it. So what do? Instead of suffering from neuropathy, you kiss the joy. To what extent have you been binding the joy, trying to bind the joy throughout your life? When things are going well, you want to hold on to it, so you tighten up instead of relaxing, trusting that it's all there's going to be more joy tomorrow. And so it struck me that I said, get your angel to heal you. A couple of minutes later, the healing was evident because the poem was spoken, and that poem contains the solution to everything. So how are we meant to live? How are we meant to make ourselves strong? Going back to the Temperance card, we do it by kissing the joy, whatever that might mean to you. I know I have an idea what it means to me, but we've got our own version of joy, or what gives us joy, how we would define joy. Are we kissing joy and living in eternity's sunrise, or are we trying to bind it and destroying the winged life? And that's kind of everything, the only thing that we need to know to live better, or to live well, and to become strong, like the sword that's being hammered, and then it becomes stronger because of what's happened. So a couple of people wanted more about being paid for readings, and I'm not quite sure what you mean. But I got this. I think what you do is, when it comes to reading, you get a notebook like this, and you write down the date and the person's name, and maybe what we do is, I like to get people to pick a couple of numbers, but maybe what you do is, okay, we know what you want to know, and I just take a moment and I pick a significator for you, and I got the Temperance card. Okay, so I write down, I've got the person's name and the date, and then I write down Temperance as a significator. So it can give me an idea of what the reading is going to be like, or it can give me an idea of what I'm meant to talk about, or what I could usefully talk about during the reading. So you're putting yourself together, you're getting yourself together, you're becoming strong, and so it may or may not be easy. But if you've got the idea that the end result will be worth it, so you don't mind a little bit of struggle as you temper the metal. So you write down the name and the date and the significator card that you got, and then you write down the questions and you shuffle cards and write down the cards that come up for the different questions. And then it's only because later, like a year from now, you can look back on the readings that you've done. You can make notes at the time if you want, but just you're going to notice things about what you did and what you said and how things worked if you make a note of it. And I don't know how long this has taken, but I did want to say this bit as well. If you remember, the tarot adds up to 32, and 3 is the Empress and 2 is the High Priestess. So with the tarot, there's a serious side to it. Yes, it's friendly and sociable, and you can have a nice time with the tarot, but there's also a serious message. Or there's I don't want to say it's serious again, but it's the only word I can think of. A serious side to the tarot. If you pay money, I think it makes it easier for the serious side to come out, because it's no longer just, we're at a party, we're in a kitchen, and let's play tarot cards and let's bring out the tarot and see what the tarot has to say. If you hand over cash, then it changes the atmosphere, and I think it gives a better opportunity for the serious side and the important lessons that people are meant to learn in their own life. It gives you a chance to talk about important things rather than just skirt around the subject, or rather than just pass half an hour in idle chit-chat or something like that. So I will talk more about, because somebody mentioned something about energy exchange. So can I, if I do a reading for you, will you do something for me? And I think that's what the person was asking about, but I don't really know so if anybody has an idea, tell me what you're thinking. But I think it's only money, get a few dollars. You can always give it away to charity if you want, right? So you don't have to keep it, and you're not trying to become a millionaire, $1 at a time. But cash changes the atmosphere, and it's sort of real in a kind of a way, and maybe it makes the tarot more, or what the message that you would talk about when you pick a card. Is it going to work? The Wheel of Fortune reversed. Watch out for unexpected changes going against you, you say. And if the person has paid for it, are they more likely to take seriously the warning that you give, or the telling them to be careful and to watch out, or to pay attention? Because that goes back to get your angels to heal you. How many times have we asked for things or wondered if something could happen, but then not paid attention? And maybe we got the answer, we just didn't realize it, or we didn't notice it. How many times has that happened for us? And maybe what we do going forward is be aware of what we're thinking and what we're asking for, and be aware of the kind of experiences that we have, because maybe the answers are right there, and maybe the law of attraction is instantly manifesting what it is that we want. In the same way that I think this healing took place for the woman instantly, But the question is, was she going to be aware of it enough that she could actually help to live it properly? Okay, that was number 14 and the Temperance card. So thank you for that. Today's, I don't know, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'll see you on Tuesday. Okay? Bye-bye.